As you can see, it's been 50 years since I left Jack Yates High School, 1967. Yes, it's been 50 years since I wore my cap and gown, 1967. And as I look back through the grace of God for all the wonderful 50 years I had since I left Jack Yates, let's go back to the beginning of today, August the 7th, 1967. I was working as a lifeguard for the city of Houston at Yellowstone Pool. I was blessed. Yes, I was blessed because I had a great manager at the swimming pool, and his name was Jack Morrow. And he had a lovely wife, which was Laura. Laura Morrow was her name. And at that time, they had two wonderful little bitty baby boy named Leroy. We used to call him Lee. And they had older daughter Tara. And Jack taught me how to be a responsible adult because he knew I was engaged to get married when I got out of Jack Yates. And I was going to get married and did get married in October. But the swimming pool was getting ready to close for the summer. It was a brand new time of integration. They was getting ready to start integration in September of 1967. That's when they started mandatory integration. And I did not know at the end of the year, at the end of the swimming pool year, where I was going to start at, but I knew my wife, which later on became my wife, we was engaged while I was at Yates. And her name was Gloria Jean Waller, and she finished out of Phyllis Wheatley. And she was going to Texas Southern. So therefore, not only was I finna get married, but I'm also getting ready to take on the responsibility of trying to help my wife finish college. So Jack and Laura prepared me to be a man. And from then on, at the end of August, I started thinking before August was over that the best place I could go to work, because blacks was in demand. They had too many white people on jobs, so they was trying to place black people on these jobs to balance out the race problem, because they had just got through getting ready to go into integration with HISD. So I had always worked around Baby Giant, and I always knew, even at 14 years old, how to check in salesman, how to put up groceries, and really how to run the cash register, and how to check in customers. And by the age of 16, I had already learned how to balance an inventory, because Howard Davenport, he was my leader. He was my big brother. I owe a lot to Howard Davenport. He taught me what I know today, how to make money and how to survive. And I had been knowing Howard ever since I was about 14 years old. He was working at Baby Giant. And I would get little jobs to fill the cool up, run the cash register. He even had me selling beer. So I watched Howard, and I knew how he managed the store. I knew how he inventoried to check up. So I knew the ins and outs of the drive-in grocery business. But I did not want to go to work for Utolum, because Utolum had too many blacks. It was the white people who were begging for blacks. And that's when I went to work for 7-Eleven. When September 1967, I was working for 7-Eleven. I went out to work at 7-Eleven over on Persian Street, which was out in South Park. At this time, whites was a majority out in South Park. That's why they hired me, because they knew blacks was moving in. I got to be assistant manager over there on Persian. And then from, because 7-Eleven, we had a total of about 8 stores up and down South Park Boulevard, and also on Macau Road off of Belford. So I worked at 7-Eleven for about 3 months as an assistant manager. And that's just how quick they were moving blacks up. And I knew what I was doing. Them white boys, they didn't know nothing about how to check up an inventory, especially when you had blacks coming in there stealing. They didn't know how to balance that inventory up. They couldn't deal with it. But I was around Howard Davenport and Lawrence Jones and Wardell, and those guys was working at Utolum, so they knew how to check up an inventory when people were stealing out your store. So therefore, I knew how to make up my loss. And the white guys didn't know nothing how to do that, because they always checked up short and always checked up over, because they did not have the knowledge that I had coming from the guys' experience out of Utolum. And when I got to be a manager, quite natural, yes, it was the discrimination, because the first store that I managed was out there on Selinsky, and they had just opened up Sterling Senior High School. And as I was a manager, quite natural, I would let 3 of them come in at a time after school. And on April, the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated, because I worked all the way until the part of 68. And when Martin Luther King was assassinated, one of the young white boys who came in the store, and he was always a troublemaker. Other white kids knew he was a bully. And he came in there and threw a ROC soda water down, 16-ounce ROC, and told me in front of my face, he said, "I'm glad they killed that nigga." And I could not help it. I reached over there, busted him upside the head, and threw him out the door. So at that particular time, and all the kids was happy I did it. All the white kids, they was happy. Oh man, they was happy at this. And they laughed at him, especially when I kicked him in his butt and I pushed him outside and told him don't never come back in the store. And so make a long story short, they wanted to transfer me to a store that was having more problems, because on Selinsky, it wasn't that many blacks out there yet. Hadn't moved from Sunnyside out towards Selinsky area. So they moved me to the 7-Eleven that was on South Park, which is now MLK, in Belford. There I was a manager, because they could never check that store up. And the first month I got there, I checked the store up over. I never told those guys, those white guys, or anybody how I did it. But I knew how to do it, because I had been around people like Howard Davenport and experienced Lawrence Jones and Wardell and Murray, all them experienced guys that used to work at Utolum in the black neighborhood. So I already knew how to do it. So in August, and after Martin Luther King got assassinated, I went over there to manage the 7-Eleven number 14. I never forget it. And when I managed that 7-Eleven, I got it up, and it was running good. I mean, I didn't have any problems. They even gave me a young black lady to be my assistant manager. And then I got my salesman at ROC Soda Water. His name was John Page. And John had been knowing me since I started at 7-Eleven. He was a supervisor. He didn't run routes, but he couldn't keep nobody on this route. So when route men don't pull a route or can't come to work, supervisor put it. Anyway, John asked me, he said, "Robert, man, have you ever thought about selling soda water. Man, we pay you a guarantee $100, then you ain't got to worry about no inventory. You ain't got to worry about getting up and your help not coming to work. So I told him, yeah, I would be interested. He said, well, go get your commercial license. I got my commercial license, and then as soon as I got my commercial license, John Page hired me immediately at RSC. I started working at RSC during the summer, around about June of 1968. And I had a route out there. They gave me a route. They trained me real good. Not long, because they knew I knew exactly how to put up soda water and knew that I had experience in retails. So then John put me out there, and my first supervisor was Lyle Morris. And Morris was happy to put me on that route because he was tired of going out there to 3rd Ward and 4th Ward and people stealing soda water off his truck. And it wasn't nothing he could do about it because he was a white guy. And during them days, we didn't have no open, all our truck was open. We didn't have sheds that protected our soda water. So I went out to 4th Ward, and I went to 4th Ward on Mondays, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I went out to 3rd Ward on Tuesday and Friday. That started my route sales. God have been so good to me. This would be 3-part series because I had 3 different careers. First of all, the route sales was a career, and that's what we're going to talk about now. And I did route sales for 35 years. Then I opened up my own grocery store. I had a lovely wife. I got remarried to a beautiful wife out in Dickinson, Texas. Her name was Sandra Hobbs, and she helped me run my grocery store. And the next career that I had was disc jockey at KYOK. So that's 3 careers right there. And then I had another career. I had 10-year career in selling cars. And each one of them, I'm going to take you through them. But we can't do all of it at one time. So right now, we're going to start out with 1968. Selling soda water for RSC Soda Waters. We stand in route sales. And then in 69, a man named Carl Williams told me, say, man, look, man, I see how you put up your soda water. You know how to sell soda water, because I just wouldn't drop soda water out. No, I serviced the store. I put the soda water in the machine so the soda water could sell. I don't put the soda water in the back room and wait for them to put it up. I put it up. And Carl Williams noticed how aggressive I was, and he said, man, would you come to work for Rainbow if I could get you on selling bread? He said, the only thing about it, you got to get up 4 days in the morning. I say, but you make way more money than what you're making here, and plus you don't have to worry about nobody stealing soda water off your truck. So I told him, I said, yes, I'll be interested. And at that time, route salesmen, blacks, they was just hiring blacks on trucks in route sales. And Rainbow, I was the first young black that they hired. Because, see, a bread man, the bread company, not only Rainbow, but Miss Barrett's and Cookbook and Sunbeam, they would not hire a single man. They would not hire anybody that's under 25. Because they felt like these guys wouldn't be able to get up in the morning, and they still got a lot of part in their blood. So they had a rule that they didn't hire people under 25. And at that time, I had just turned 21.